Hello, this is Jonathan Mears with Coldwell Banker Realty. Another video for you guys. I think I was supposed to film this quite a bit ago, but a lot of schoolwork. I just got done with 2 exams, so a whole lot of studying. And today, all I wanted to go over with for you guys today is what you might want to know. Well, you definitely want to know if you're listing a house. First things first, if you find an ideal agent, or for sales by owners are also pretty good deals if you know your way about selling a house. But if you don't, I'll go over things you probably discuss in like a listing appointment with a real estate agent. First things first, you probably have a call, or you have a sit down. My first sellers, it was an investor guy from out the state, so we had to do this through a Zoom call, or at least we attempted to, but we ended up just doing it on a regular phone call. You go over necessary details such as have they talked to agents before? Really tells you a lot about how marketable this property is. Tells you how willing the willingness the agent had to sell it, and it's just to find a middle ground to see if this is a property that you can really get out and going, and if it wasn't represented or marketed well enough in your opinion, then that's something we can take care of, look back on, and pursue and try to get that property out on social medias and platforms like that, and try to get it out as fast as possible. Um, you talk about a reasonable price in your opinion. You talk about how long you've been trying to sell it. If there's any physical details that make you want to sell it, or um, why you're motivated to sell it. You talk about things such as what payment, what forms of payment you prefer. If, for example, on the same call I did, they preferred cash because it was a low value, a mid to low value property. They tried to list it for, I'd say, 75 ish, and in those cases when you have um a really low selling point, most of the time you're going to see people saying they want cash. I mean, you want a fast closing. On bigger properties, it makes sense that um, you have to wait for lenders. You have to wait to get approvals and pre-approvals. But when you have cash, you can just get it over and done with. And when you have a low buy point, usually investors who try to buy so they can lease it out or hold and then sell eventually in the future. That's um, it just gives you good amount of tells on that sort of stuff. Um, that's probably gonna be like your first good chunk of the call. Then if you like who you're talking with, if you um like this agent that you're looking to partner up with, then you go into a call discussing paperwork. Um, the main one you're gonna go over with is probably like your seller's disclosure. Again, your agent's definitely not gonna fill it out unless if they're 100% like confident. Well, not even that. The reason why agents don't do your seller's disclosures, even though they might know a lot about your property, is because it does make us physically or legally liable in case that there's anything incorrectly filled out. And since we haven't in it for a while or lived in it at all, we'd prefer that the seller does that on their own discretion. Yes, no. If it's working order, you say yes, and if it's there, you say yes. If if it doesn't work or isn't present, then hit no or cross off the no. And if it's an unknown, unknown's really where it's more commonly with things like roofs and heating and like plumbing systems, because those things have they last a while, and since they don't need as much maintenance as other things, you don't really know if it's any good or bad shape, how long it's been there, unless if there's a major issue that is present in your house. So again, like if you don't know the age of your roof, unknown. That's the best way to do it. And if it's the same thing with plumbing, heating, electric, because those things again are legally there's something that's that could get you into quite a big chunk of trouble. So um, again, try to be there's if you really don't know, unknown. But again, if you're like sorry, if you're 75% sure about something, look into it. You want to get as many yes or no's in there so you know, so any potential buyers know what they're getting themselves into. And it makes you look like a more reliable seller. And it really does um, get that sort of establishes like a firm ground, a trustworthy bond sort of between a buyer and seller, and really helps get deals over the line. You do see sometimes that there's properties where there's a lot of unknowns, and in that case, it's really hard to get over the line. The house can look nice in pictures and stuff like that, but if you don't know a lot about it, then I mean, if you're looking to put a large amount of money towards a property you're trying to live in, and you don't know how old the roof is, you don't know what shape it's in. Same thing with your heating, your plumbing. Well, are you really gonna buy into it, or are you gonna buy, or are you just gonna reserve uh your your financial assets until you find a property where, hey, yeah, this says yes, this is in working order, this roof is 10 years old, the plumbing was recently installed within 5 years, um, the flooring's great, the fridge, the dishwasher, and stove are all in great condition, are going to be there. That is a lot easier to push over the line than it's like, the roof could be 10 to 15 years unknown. Um, we don't know if this works. We don't know if how old the heating is. So do your research as a seller. It really does help get deals over the line. Really helps you out the door quicker as well. Um, again, this is easier to communicate in person, but if you have the task of say you're like an investor out of state, um, the best you can probably do is a Zoom call where you see each other face to face at least. But again, um, it's a bit more touchy, especially with paperwork. A lot of people are uncomfortable with doing digital paperwork because it puts your signature on a document online, and I mean it's just sort of untrustworthy, especially with something substantial like selling a house. And once that's set, you can talk about marketing terms. Um, if you want your agent to plaster it all over social media, buy ads, put signs. I've actually had a seller that I'm working with right now. She elected not to have a sign. Um, it's personal preference, but um, there's that. You want to talk about the quality of marketing. Hey, is this agent someone that's good with pictures? Ask for previous listings and stuff like that. Because again, you want to have as much as a physical representation of a house as possible without having access to it physically. So you want to take a picture of like every room, at least 2-3 angles. You want to make sure they have a good quality. I've done a listing where all the pictures came off of a phone, but that's because I have a pretty good camera on here. But again, with higher price point properties, you definitely want to get a photographer, especially if you feel like your agent is gonna be financially compensated enough to do it, which that's something um, is highly recommended, especially for agents if it's such a nice property that you feel like you're gonna go all out for it. Again, photographers. Same thing with listers. Hey, is it possible we get a photographer out there so we get the best representation of this house as possible onto your social medias, onto the listing system, and hopefully get a deal over the line quicker. But yeah, that's like the main gist of it. That's pretty much how much the call is going to be. You're probably going to meet up once to walk the agent through the property. It does get a little sticky sometimes with people that, like I said, the previous one of the listings I've worked with, an investor had someone that was leasing it out, but they were having eviction troubles, so that's gonna get it hard. It's gonna be really difficult to get over the line. So if you're a lister, try to get it in as marketable condition as possible. Clean up. Try to get as much physical belongings out of the house. Maybe put it in like a garage or storage unit. But just remember that the pictures that are out there are gonna be, I mean, the biggest. It's like the best bait to get any buyers to buy the house or look at it, especially on sites like Homes, Zillow. If the buyer has an agent, the MLS system is going to be their go-to. But yeah, pictures are definitely the biggest form of advertising that there is. So make sure you get someone that's good with that. And other than that, I mean, there's not much to it. Granted, there is those tedious scenarios which, if given the time, I might make like a nice 30-second video talking about how evictions work and stuff like that. But again, I don't want to put myself in positions like that because that's really an attorney, like a real estate attorney's forte. So I doubt I'm the only one making videos like this. So there's probably someone that could tell you about help with evictions and really have their work out there. So there's that. Other than that, yeah, I appreciate you guys watching this video, taking the time out of your day to watch it, and have a good one.